My name is Jonathan Jones. I'm a TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and I'm the host of the Speaker Success Podcast, and I am 30 years old. I was born in Baton Rouge, ultimately grew up in between Atlanta and Texas, and since then I've been here, birthed something called the No Complain campaign, been really focused on living a life of positivity, helping other people do the same, just based on previous life experience from various jobs that I've had. Was a part of a national championship winning basketball team at Richmond College. But ultimately, everything that I do is all driven and is service oriented to empower students, to empower millennials, as well as young men, just to be equipped with not just encouragement or not just motivation, but tangible application and tangible skills that they can apply to their life to be fruitful in the long term. Helping students be exposed to opportunities and different careers that they could possibly have that otherwise might not been tangible for them because they've never heard somebody speak of different careers or different passions. So that would really have to be what wakes me up in the morning, is pouring into other people so that they can be equipped to live the life that they want to live and not be in their biggest regret. What's one lesson that I've learned in my 20s? Invest in yourself. I think that's the best way to go. I don't think there's any other way to put it. And people, I think, can act like they don't understand what that means, but I think that's just cheating yourself. You can invest in yourself by going to the library, reading books, going on YouTube, watching videos, listening to podcasts, but finding something that you think you might like and then listening about it, then trying it out through trial and error, and then ultimately seeing if it works for you. If it doesn't, move on. If you're 20, you'll ask somebody 50, 60, however old, they'll say you have the rest of your life ahead of you, which is really true. So I say, invest in yourself. We invest in clothes and shoes and chains and cars to make us look nice, but we have to invest in what's inside and what's within. In the future, more books would definitely be a focus. Lately, I've been realizing that my main focus or my heart really goes out to young men, young minority, millennial men and students. So now creating a workshop to where I begin to focus on those individuals with my work, as well as monetizing the podcast, continuing to grow. I would love to see my podcast be a top 50 on iTunes, on Apple. That'd be awesome. But I mean, even with that, it seems like they might be solo accomplishments, but each one of those will ultimately benefit other people, because if the podcast influence grows, then I'll be able to serve more people because more ears will be available to hear the message. And I mean, ultimately, just keep speaking. Of course, keep speaking, and challenge other people to do the same thing, sharing their story. Maybe coaching in the future. Who knows? Maybe not. But that's really where my heart is, focusing on minority males, still focusing on millennials, teaching leadership through workshops, and allowing the podcast to climb up the charts. Okay, so what has allowed me to make my name or have the most notoriety thus far? I've had the pleasure of being featured a few different places. One time I was featured on CBS during the Save Our Sons conference at Concord Church, so that was really dope. Also, with Millennial Leadership, they featured me some time ago, and I was on their podcast as well. But I think the TED Talk would be one of the defining factors, I would say, as well as being an Amazon bestseller, because I think that's help open the door and create opportunities that otherwise wouldn't have been afforded to me. So those would be some of the biggest standout opportunities that I've received thus far. And I mean, there's many others, because I wouldn't want to devalue any of the features or any privileges that I've had, but those two I would say would be the biggest, just because of the name, and TEDx being international, as well as Amazon being international also. So those two. What would be the best nugget of advice to share with another up-and-coming entrepreneur or the next great entrepreneur on the rise wherever they may be. Let me think about that for a second. It would have to be no struggle, no progress. Stay true to the process. And I say that because entrepreneurship is a struggle, just as anything else is. As somebody's trying to work up the ladder in their company, it's a struggle. Trying to make varsity basketball team and you're a freshman, it's a struggle. But if you show up every day and you're consistent with your work, you're consistent in your research, and you're consistent in your grind, and you just continue to persevere, you continue to show up. It's just like that meme that I'm sure we've all seen. They have the one guy on top who's digging away, and then there's diamonds. And then there's the other guy who is really, really, really close. He's like maybe one or two more swings away from the diamonds, but then he's turning away, walking back. If you don't keep on swinging your pick, you don't keep on digging, you don't keep on doing the work that's required, you won't achieve success. So you have to understand the struggle is coming, and then once it does, prepare yourself for it, brace yourself, and then just stay true to the process. Because then, when you do that, then you'll be able to appreciate being on top of the mountain so much more. You'll be able to appreciate, all the people who poured into you and invested into your life. I'm Jonathan Jones, and you are watching ChannelTwenty.
And I want to see y'all be great. I want to see y'all do whatever it is y'all are passionate about doing. But you got to do your research. You got to apply yourself. And then TEDx kids, have fun. Thank you.